Welcome to the Oakland County Megacast. I'm Tyler Kieft, welcoming you to our live, local, 5 days a week look into all things Oakland County. Today, we'll be talking to university officials, municipal leaders, and more about topics interesting and important to people like you right here in Oakland County. Let's get into today's headlines on our website at civiccentertv.com. On our local news page, our top story today comes from John Osting at Bridge, Michigan. DePerno and others linked to voting machine tampering cases are headed to a special prosecutor. This is, of course, from Bridge, Michigan. Michigan Democratic Attorney General Dana Nessel's office is seeking a special prosecutor to review possible criminal charges in an election machine tampering case involving Matthew DePerno, who is a Republican candidate running for Attorney General against her in this upcoming election. A petition requesting a special prosecutor claims that DePerno, fellow attorney Stephanie Lambert Gentilla, and State Representative Dyer Rendon, a Republican from Lake City, quote, orchestrated a coordinated plan to gain access, and closed quote, to voting machines in multiple jurisdictions following the 2020 presidential election. Nessel has a conflict of interest in the case, of course, because DePerno is her likely opponent for re-election come November. Assistant Attorney General Danielle Hageman Clark explained in the Friday petition to the Michigan Prosecuting Attorneys Coordinating Council. The vote machine probe began in February before DePerno won the Michigan GOP's endorsement convention with backing from former Republican President Donald J. Trump. During the probe, quote, facts were developed that DePerno was one of the prime instigators of the conspiracy, and closed quote, wrote Hageman Clark. At issue were voting machines used in the 2020 election and potentially criminal attempts to access those machines to try and prove Trump's unsubstantiated claims that voter fraud cost him that year's contest. The investigation determined that DePerno, Rendon, and Gentilla were part of a group that gained unauthorized access and compromised tabulators, and close quote, in Roscommon County, Richfield Township, Lake City Township, and Irving Township between March and June of 2021. Said Chief Deputy Attorney General Christina Grossi in a Friday letter to Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson. Other alleged conspirators include Berry County Sheriff Dara Leaf, Cyber Ninja's CEO Doug Logan, Ben Cotton, Jeff Lenberg, Ann Howard, and James Penrose, according to a petition for special prosecutor. Information gathered from the allegedly breached machines in Richfield Township and Roscommon County later appeared in subpoenas and court documents that DePerno submitted in a failed lawsuit over results reporting errors in Antrim County, according to Grossi. DePerno, quote, categorically denies, and closed quote, the allegations, campaign manager Tyson Shepard said late Sunday in a series of statements. He called the petition for a special prosecutor a, quote, liberal fever dream of lies based on political prosecution, and closed quote. Quote, this is a complete absurdity that shows the tactics of the institutional left, and Matt DePerno looks forward to defeating Nessel and bringing back order to this office in November, and closed quote, he said. DePerno is an attorney whose Antrim County lawsuit made him a national figure in the quote-unquote Stop the Steal movement, and a favorite of Donald Trump. Michigan Republican delegates endorsed DePerno for Attorney General back in April and are expected to make a nomination official at the August 27th convention. Shepard did not address the allegations that DePerno used information from breached voting machines in his legal filings, and he did not respond to a request for additional comment. In a Monday radio review, DePerno called the allegations, quote, total garbage, and said, we did nothing illegal, and closed quote. All 5 of the voting machines were allegedly taken to hotels or rented Airbnb properties here in Oakland County. There, Lenberg, Cotton, Penrose, and Logan, quote, broke into the tabulators and performed, quote unquote, tests on the equipment, and close quote. That's according to Hageman Clark's petition. Quote, it was determined during the investigation that DePerno was present at a hotel room during such quote unquote testing, and closed quote, said Grossi, the Deputy Attorney General, on Friday. To Benson in a Friday letter that DePerno subpoenaed Verizon for information related to voting machine modem IDs only accessible by first breaking open security seals and removing outer panels. DePerno also included a photo of a ES&S modem as an exhibit in the Antrim case that came from a Roscommon County tabulator, Clerk Michelle Stevenson told investigators. Video footage of the tabulator also appears to be on DePerno's website, according to Grossi. The letter was first reported by the Detroit News and obtained by Bridge, Michigan. Rendon allegedly contacted local clerks in Roscommon County, Richfield Township, Lake City Township, and told them to turn over their machines as part of an investigation into election fraud, falsely claiming that the state house was leading a probe. Under Michigan law, it is a 5-year felony for a person to quote unquote obtain undue possession of a voting machine. In her letter, Grossi also noted that the potential for 5-year felony conspiracy charges, along with quote unquote potential civil liability related to unauthorized release and destruction of government property. A message was also left at Rendon's State House office late Sunday. Nessel, a first-term Democrat, has repeatedly said that she would seek a special prosecutor should her office's election machine tampering probe lead to findings against Matthew DePerno. Nessel cannot comment on the case because it is, quote, still an open investigation, and close quote, Nessel's office said on Monday morning. The Department of Attorney General is also asking the Attorney Grievance Commission to investigate DePerno and Lambert Gentilla for potential professional misconduct. That is according to a release. The prosecuting attorney's coordinating council will choose, quote, another prosecutorial agency, and closed quote, to determine potential criminal charges, Grossi told Benson in her letter on Friday. While Jocelyn Benson's office requested the voting machine probe in February, a Republican-led state Senate committee had earlier alluded to DePerno in asking Nessel to investigate, quote, those who have been utilizing misleading and false information about Antrim County to raise money or publicity for their own ends, and closed quote. DePerno represented a local activist in a lawsuit seeking a quote-unquote forensic audit following the 2020 election results reported in Antrim County. While he has lost in lower leaves, DePerno has appealed to the Michigan Supreme Court, where justices have not yet decided whether to consider the case. The Antrim County case and a report prepared by a team DePerno allowed to examine a Dominion machine there spawned global conspiracy theories about voting tabulators and fueled Trump's efforts to overturn the results of the 2020 election. Trump lost Michigan to Democrat Joe Biden by 154,188 votes. Jocelyn Benson, the Secretary of State, in a statement thanked Attorney General Nessel for the voting machine tampering investigation and for referring the case for possible prosecution. Quote, there must be consequences for those who broke the law to undermine our elections in order to advance their own political agendas, and close quote, said Benson, vowing to make sure clerks across the state, quote, are equipped with a full understanding of the legal protections in place to block bad actors from pressuring them to gain access to secure election systems, and close quote. As Bridge first reported last year, Leaf, the Berry County Sheriff, considered seizing voting machines following the 2020 election, a plan an attorney working for him discussed with key Trump allies, including attorney Sidney Powell and former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. A local prosecutor last month denied Leaf's request for search warrant authorization, but the self-described quote-unquote constitutional sheriff has vowed to continue his probe. In June, Leaf sued the state alleging interference by the Michigan State Police. That full article with supporting materials from John Osting and the team at Bridge, Michigan, listed on our website, civiccentertv.com/local-news. Also making news on our local news page at civiccentertv.com from Christina Hall at the Detroit Free Press. Sparrow Health System is now doing in-house testing for monkeypox at its Lansing lab. Sparrow Health System is testing for monkeypox virus through its own in-house system that began on Thursday, the same day that U.S. health officials declared monkeypox and the monkeypox outbreak a public health emergency. 2 patients had been tested by noon on Friday, with the main lab in Lansing having the capability of testing up to 200 patients per day, according to Dr. Paul Entler, the health system's chief clinical officer. He said the turnaround time for results is less than 24 hours, giving patients an answer and treatment and therapy options earlier than before. Getting a monkeypox test result as soon as possible, as with coronavirus, patient prevention and further progression of the virus is key, according to Entler. He said that Sparrow was previously leveraging the state lab, which may have been leveraging the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, a process that would take more than 1 day. Quote, we were able to do all the steps now within our lab, he said, continuing on by saying, quote, it's really nice to be able to do this because I think the key of anything is the availability to get feedback as soon as possible for source control, and close quote. He said the growth of the outbreak in Michigan and nationally is concerning. The CDC said more than 7,500 cases were recorded in the United States as of Friday, with more than 28,000 cases worldwide in 88 countries. Michigan had 71 cases of monkeypox as of Thursday, nearly twice as many as the week before, according to the state health department. Of those cases, 19 were in the city of Detroit, 13 in Oakland County, County, 10 in Macomb, 9 in Wayne County outside of the city of Detroit, 7 in Kent County, 4 in Ingham County in mid-Michigan, 3 in Washtenaw County, 2 in Ottawa County on the west side of the state, as well as 1 each in Ionia, St. Clair, Livingston, and Montcalm counties. Entler said the lab is testing for all of the orthopox viruses. If a test is positive, a more specific test is then run for monkeypox. He said the lab is typing for the West African strain or the Congo Basin strain. Infections in the current outbreak are from the West African type of monkeypox, according to the CDC on its website. Entler said the effort of the health system to conduct its own testing began a little after a month ago. The first probable monkeypox case was reported at the end of June right here in Oakland County. While the health system said it is testing its patients, Entler said he expects that some patients will come from outside of the area in order to get tested. He said samples can be taken at any of the Lansing-based health systems labs, emergency rooms, or urgent care locations in mid-Michigan. Entler recommends that anyone who has symptoms or has been exposed to in a high-risk area to talk with their physician as soon as possible. Symptoms can include fever, headache, muscle aches, and backache, as well as swollen lymph nodes, chills, respiratory system, and rash that can look like pimples or blisters that appear on the face, inside the mouth, and on other parts of the body, such as the hands, feet, genitals, or anus, according to the CDC. That full article from our friends at the Detroit Free Press on our website, civiccentertv.com/local-news. Finally, making headlines on our local news page from Eric Ingles at NLive. In sports news, the fall sports season here in Michigan for our high schoolers is underway. Teams are kicking off fall practice for the 2022 football season, and they did so earlier today, actually, as today began right away at 12 midnight. At midnight, the calendar officially ticked over to August 8th, and for high school coaches and athletes across the Great Lakes State, that meant the official start of practice for fall sports. For some of those coaches, waiting until morning just wasn't an option. Some teams around the state got an early jump on the fall practice by hitting the field right away at midnight. One such team was Jackson, where first-year head coach and Jackson High School alumnus Antonio Parker wanted to continue a tradition started by former head coach Scott Farley. Quote, "When I was talking to the boys in the locker room, it got a little emotional. It's my alma mater, and 20 years later to be coaching my alma mater and be the guy at the helm is a bit overwhelming. The kids are energetic. I'm energetic about it too," and closed quote. The Vikings were going through most of the same things they worked through during summer camps, saying, quote, "It was pretty fun," according to Jackson linebacker Isaac Young, who continued on by saying, quote, "I had just woke up from a nap, so it's kind of a nice way to regenerate yourself," and closed quote. At Manchester, it is a newer tradition, one that started last year by the Flying Dutchman when they were willing to keep it going. Quote, "I was never a fan of midnight practice," and closed quote, said Flying Dutchman coach Ben Pack. Pack continued on by saying, quote, "I always thought the early morning practice at the first day was the creme de la creme. But after MHSAA went into a 15 practice rule for the summertime, I didn't want practice to be the same thing we were doing all summer. So when the kids said, hey, let's stay overnight and practice under the lights at midnight, I was all for it. It provides a bit of a different atmosphere," and closed quote. Compared to what teams will be doing on the field the rest of the week, the midnight practice isn't much different. Players were still lined up for stretching. They went into all of the usual drills. The major difference was that it all happened under the lights after most people were in bed instead of under the hot sun in the middle of a Michigan summer day. It did not officially become the first day of practice until the clock hit 12 midnight, but in Manchester, players were lined up along the goal line ready to get started a few minutes early. Quote, "At 11:55, we wanted to go, and Coach Pack said, quote, 'We've got a few minutes left. We can't go yet,' and close quote, said wide receiver Jackson McGuigan, who continued on by saying, quote, 'Everyone's like, come on, we want to go, we want to go.' We all sat there, knee down, had a nice conversation. At midnight, coach said, 'Let's go,' and we all hopped in our line and started stretching to get ready to go," and close quote. Before midnight struck, there was work that teams could do off the field to help them get ready. This was the case in Manchester, where Pack had seniors address their teammates before taking the field. Quote, "It was more of a brotherhood type of thing, get to know everyone, hang out in a different setting," and close quote, said receiver Andrew Campbell. Continuing on, Campbell said, quote, "If we're playing cards or in the weight room, we're getting to know each other so we can trust each other when we're out on the field," and close quote. Great story there from Jackson and from Manchester High Schools getting ready for this upcoming MHSAA football season. All those headlines on our website, civiccentertv.com, on our local news page, as well as those ever helpful links to accurate and up-to-date information on COVID-19 from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, as well as the Oakland County Health Division here locally in Pontiac. We have a great program ahead on this Monday edition of the Oakland County Megacast. Up next, I'll be joined by Dennis Wade from Oakland University's Pawley Lean Institute, followed by Aaron Felipsky from Royal Oaks Department of Public Service and Recreation. That's all up next on the Oakland County Megacast.
Connect with local leaders, philanthropists, and more. The Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce presents the 2022 Leadership Breakfast. Join the Chamber for a morning of insight with guest speaker Laura Graneman, with the whole event emceed by Fox 2 News anchor Roop Raj. Join your local businesses at the Wabeat Country Club September 13th at 8:30 a.m. Order your tickets by September 6th at westbloomfieldchamber.com/breakfast. We'll see you there.
Let's whoop it up for these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the cheering going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head-on, visit michigan.gov/flu. Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
Let's savor these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
Hour show about all things Oakland County. I'm Tyler Kieft. Learn more about the program by visiting civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll find information on our entire network of stations, including My Michigan TV. Joining us on the Oakland County Megacast now is Dennis Wade. He is the director of the Pawley Lean Institute located at Oakland University. Dennis, thank you for being with us today.
Thanks, Tyler.
Appreciate having you on. So first off, give us some background information and some insight. For those that aren't familiar, what is the Pawley Lean Institute at Oakland University? What services does it provide on campus there at Oakland?
The Pawley Lean Institute has been around. This is actually our 20th year. It was established by Denny Paulie, who was a former executive vice president at Chrysler, an OU graduate, as well as one time an OU trustee. His focus was that if you could put lean curriculum into Oakland University and expose students to lean, and if you're not familiar with the lean terminology, think of it as the elimination of waste in process. Some people might call it continuous improvement, that students would be better prepared to find a job once they graduated. So he thought it would give them a differential advantage. The Institute itself is comprised of providing some support for some professors that are doing work in that area, but it is mostly student-centric. We have scholarships. We work on finding internships for students. We have some programs of our own that we run, including high school workshops, lean community service internships where we do some lean projects for community service organizations, as well as also doing some lean projects within the university itself.
So you mentioned how lean curriculum can help to teach students how to eliminate waste from industry, or that the lean concept helps to eliminate waste from industry, make industry more efficient for students as they're learning to become young professionals and get into their career path. How can a lean education, such as those of which is available at Oakland University, be beneficial to them as they're developing these skills?
Yeah, I think there's a couple things. One, they learn the basic concepts, the terminology. It's very evident in manufacturing, it's evident in banking, it's evident in utilities, it's evident in healthcare. So if they're familiar with that, one, it helps them find a job. Secondly, what I think it does is that from a career perspective, it's a great way to learn about business, to look at the inner workings of an organization and their processes, and to make improvements and efficiencies within those processes. And if you think about it, there's a couple things that'll happen because of lean or continuous improvement. By taking waste out of process, you can improve quality. You can certainly improve margins because you've taken cost out of the business. Things along that line that are really what organizations are trying to do today.
So what are some of these processes that are being taught to students to help eliminate some of this waste in a variety of industries? Because this is an interdisciplinary approach. It's, as listed in the website, it's in the School of Education and Human Services, of Engineering and Computer Science, and School of Business and more.
Yeah, so an operations management person that's on a floor obviously needs to know these concepts. Industrial and systems engineering folks that are getting ISE degrees are taking those lean concepts into their day-to-day work life because they work on process all the time. And if you're a human resource development student that has lean, many times you're going to work in an HR department with a local manufacturer or a supplier or an auto company. So you certainly understand your business a lot better if you understand these concepts.
We're joined by Dennis Wade. He is the director of the Paulie Lean Institute at Oakland University. With us on the Oakland County Megacast, you can learn more information about the Paulie Lean Institute and all of its workings to teach students at Oakland University these lean concepts by visiting oakland.edu/lean. That's oakland.edu/lean. Especially in today's industry, Dennis, as we have witnessed the impact of supply chain issues, of manufacturing issues, certainly that are related to the supply chain, and a number of other issues, including staffing shortages that are impacting many different industries. How much more important now is it for students at the university level in so many different disciplines to master some of these lean concepts to give the companies that they're working for after they graduate as great of a benefit as possible, but also to make sure that they're working efficiently and not getting behind on some of their projects, knowing they'll probably be a little more overloaded than they would have in the past?
Well, I think what we've been able to do is take in our curriculum, exposing either at the undergraduate or the graduate level, these concepts so that as they take them back, one, they're going to find themselves more marketable. So students that have this experience have the ability to find jobs, whether it's in engineering or HRD or operations management. What we're also finding is that many organizations have now developed lean or continuous improvement departments within their organizations. And as you look at something as simple as how a healthcare industry had to address the pandemic, where their world was turned upside down, lean led that because they had to create processes on the fly. They had to make those processes efficient. They had to be able to reduce the bottlenecks that they were seeing. So we see that today, not just in manufacturing, but an industry where healthcare really stood out over the last 2 years and where they had to face the challenges of the pandemic.
So it's not always evident where young people are going to go in an industry. Maybe they don't know what their career path is going to be as they're exiting high school, as they're entering college. So from your institute standpoint and from industry standpoint, when is the best time to begin teaching these lean concepts to students, and how does the Paulie Lean Institute then take those considerations into factor as they provide this curriculum?
Well, what we'll usually see is we'll see students probably taking it in their junior and senior year. What the Institute has done is try to work with those students and placing them into internships. We also run our own community service internships where we have some partnerships with organizations outside of the university where we can put student teams into an organization like a Humble Design, Leader Dog for the Blinds, Fleece and Thank You, and they can actually get actual work experience by completing projects. Same as with an internship. You'll also find that many of our students, particularly from the engineering side of the house, they have to take a senior design project. Many times that will be a lean project they'll take. So having that coursework walking into those organizations is a real benefit. And what we really like to think is that, you know, if you're working in lean or you've got a lean internship, you know, you have the opportunity maybe to get hired by the organization that's you're currently working for. Minimally, you're able to truly enhance your resume as you seek that first job outside of college.
We're joined by Dennis Wade. He is the director of the Paulie Lean Institute at Oakland University. Joining us on the Oakland County Megacast, plenty of information on the Lean Institute, all the work that they do with students across disciplines at Oakland University, some of their work out in the community as well, and some information also on lean concepts so that you can learn more information about what they are and how they benefit industries all across the great state of Michigan and beyond. Oakland.edu/lean for all of that information. That's oakland.edu/lean. And I understand that the Lean Institute also is promoting some of these lean learning opportunities, and especially in engineering at the high school level. It's been doing that since about 2015. Can you tell us about the ISE program, or the Industry Systems and Engineering Department, and the program it's been working on with these high school workshops for roughly 7 years?
Yeah, what we've been doing is we've been able to gain some partners like AT&T, the Lean Enterprise Institute, Comerica Bank. And what they've been able to do or have supported us doing is taking high school students, bringing them on campus. Usually we try to run 3 sessions with them, a session that's on Lean itself, where there's hands-on activities, a session where we look at plant floor movement of product, as well as a session on ergonomics. So what we've been doing is bringing students into our engineering center, usually a half-day session on each one of those topics. And what we've also been doing with the funding we've been able to get from some of our partners is we've been able to cover the expenses associated with the school bringing the students here, which is primarily busing, also providing them lunch along those lines. But it's an opportunity, one, to expose students to some of the concepts of lean, what some of the career opportunities are, expose them to what Oakland University is like, because they're actually on campus interfacing with some of our students and professors. And it's just kind of a outreach program that we've developed over the last 6 or 7 years.
Joining us now on the Oakland County Megacast is Dennis Wade. He is the director of Oakland University's Paulie Lean Institute. More information can be found at oakland.edu/lean, oakland.edu/LEAN for more information. You mentioned AT&T as one of the partners in some of your efforts out in the community, including your high school workshops program that's been running since 2015. Recently, the Paulie Lean Institute received some additional help from AT&T, over $10,000 in a readiness grant from provided to the university's program, specifically for human resource development students, or HRD students. Can you tell us how that grant program, A, is going to help the Lean Institute, and B, how those lean teachings then will be passed on to HRD students?
Yeah, what we've actually done a little bit is stepped out of our lean focus with this program.
Okay.
What we're really trying to focus on is getting students ready to get into the workplace. And so our HRD students take a mandatory internship class before they graduate. And we've kind of changed the focus of that class just a little bit so that we're also looking at personal career development. And what that really involves with is having those students sitting down and writing a professional resume. Also working with the students for what we would call an elevator pitch or a network pitch, so that as they're talking to an individual, they can tell themselves very quickly in a short period of time what strengths they bring to the marketplace, something they could use at a career fair, and they'll get pieces of where they actually develop that network pitch along with that resume. And then we're going to bring those students back for another session once that's completed, and they're actually going to sit down with an industry mentor and actually work on that network pitch and go through a mock interview with that industry mentor. So they're actually getting practice to help them find a job. And we think it just kind of adds to their ability to find employment once they graduate from Oakland University. And it kind of goes back to the Denny Pawley philosophy that what we really want to do is try to give Oakland students an advantage as they go into the workplace. We've spoken to Denny about this specifically. He supports this program wholeheartedly, as he was an HRD graduate as well, because he also sees that a student-centric program that is assisting them to find that job once they graduate is beneficial. So we've kind of stepped out of our lean focus a little bit because we just see such a benefit in touching the students that we're going to be meeting with and getting them ready with professional resumes, that networking pitch, and the fact that they've actually practiced it with individuals.
We're joined by Dennis Wade. He is the director of the Paulie Lean Institute at Oakland University. He's joining us on the Oakland County Megacast. More information can continue to be found on their website, oakland.edu/lean. That is oakland.edu/lean for more information. So important to learning some of these concepts, and also with an organization like this that is so focused on getting these students ready to enter the workplace, is mentorship. Can you speak to the mentorship programs that are available through the Paulie Lean Institute at Oakland University to help prepare these soon-to-be young professionals for entering a variety of different industries?
Yeah, we kind of do that a couple different ways with industry professionals. The first method we just talked about was that students will actually be meeting with whether it's somebody from General Motors or Chrysler or Comerica Bank or a Henry Ford Hospital, and actually working with them one-on-one with their networking pitch, sharing their resume with them, going through the mock interview, and actually getting some feedback. So I think that prepares them when they go into an actual interview or career opportunity. One of the other programs that we talked about earlier was that we put students into projects where they actually do a lean project for a community service organization. And with that, we put student teams in place, and those student teams are actually mentored by a professor as well as somebody from industry with lean experience. So they're getting it from both sides. They're getting it from the industry side as well as from the academic side. And the organization that we're working with, whether again it's a Fleece and Thank You or a Leader Dog for the Blind or Humble Design in Pontiac, gets the benefit of the student completing a project that they can implement that makes their organization more effective and more efficient.
We're joined by Dennis Wade. He is the director of the Paulie Lean Institute at Oakland University, with us on the Oakland County Megacast. All that information you need to know about the organization, about the programs within the Paulie Lean Institute at Oakland, can be found at oakland.edu/lean, oakland.edu/lean, as well as additional resources for those both in these lean affected industries, in these programs at Oakland University, and for those in the general public to learn more about lean. You go to oakland.edu/lean/resources. They have information including definitions, some basics of the lean program and of these lean concepts, as well as a beginner's guide, tons of information on a variety of different processes that are affected by these lean factors, including streamlining processes, eliminating waste, developing employees, and so much more. Oakland.edu/lean/resources for all of that information. Dennis, a few more minutes with you today before we'll say goodbye. Anything else at this time that would be important for our audience to know about lean programs, how they affect our industries here in Michigan and in Oakland County, or the Paulie Lean Institute's impact on students at Oakland University in a variety of disciplines?
I think, students that take lean coursework are going to give themselves advantages whether they do a minor or they just take one class to get exposed to it. The ability for those students then to migrate into internships or some of the community service internships we have, again, provides them more experience, makes them more marketable as they seek employment. We've been fortunate. We've had some great sponsors, whether it's AT&T, which has sponsored both our high school workshops, as well as the new program we talked about from a career development perspective. The Lean Enterprise Institute, which has partnered with us heavily with the community service internships, or somebody like Comerica Bank, who has also partnered very heavily with us in the high school workshops. So I think you're seeing a great opportunity for the Institute to partner with industry and bring tremendous benefits to our student population.
Dennis, appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Tyler. Have a great evening.
More information can be found on oakland.edu/lean. That's oakland.edu/lean. You can call them 248-370-4542 to ask any questions about the Lean program or to inquire 248-370-4542. The email address lean@oakland.edu. We'll take a break on the Oakland County Megacast. When we come back, we'll go to Royal Oak and talk with Aaron Felipsky from the City of Royal Oak's Department of Public Service and Recreation about upcoming events, as well as some special programs that his department is undertaking in the great city of Royal Oak. That's up next. You're watching and listening to the Oakland County Megacast.
Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer. Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine. To keep safe and strong. Be happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Connect with local leaders, philanthropists, and more. The Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce presents the 2022 Leadership Breakfast. Join the Chamber for a morning of insight with guest speaker Laura Graneman, with the whole event emceed by Fox 2 News anchor Roop Raj. Join your local businesses at the Wabeat Country Club September 13th at 8:30 a.m. Order your tickets by September 6th at westbloomfieldchamber.com/breakfast. We'll see you there.
Let's whoop it up for these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the cheering going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head-on, visit michigan.gov/flu. Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
Let's savor these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Connect with local leaders, philanthropists, and more. The Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce presents the 2022 Leadership Breakfast. Join the Chamber for a morning of insight with guest speaker Laura Graneman, with the whole event emceed by Fox 2 News anchor Roop Raj. Join your local businesses at the Wabeat Country Club September 13th at 8:30 a.m. Order your tickets by September 6th at westbloomfieldchamber.com/breakfast. We'll see you there.
Let's whoop it up for these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the cheering going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
Welcome back to the Oakland County Megacast, our live daily 1-hour show about all things Oakland County. I'm Tyler Kieft. Learn more about the program by visiting our website at civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll find information on our entire network of stations, including My Michigan TV. Joining us now on the Oakland County Megacast is Aaron Felipsky. He is the director of the City of Royal Oaks Department of Public Works and Recreation. There's tons of great projects going on in Royal Oak over the summer, as well as, of course, those fun events we all love downtown in the city of Royal Oak. Aaron, thank you for joining us today.
Hey, good morning, Tyler. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate having you on. So there's always a lot of fun in Royal Oak, especially during the warmer months of the year as people are getting outside, exploring the city, exploring all the activities in Royal Oak. What are some of the exciting things going on still this summer in Royal Oak?
Oh, well, we've had a number of festivals already this year, and our big headline festival, Arts Beats and Eats, to look forward to later this summer. In fact, we're starting to prepare for that. Just in addition to all the activities that we have to offer at any number of our 50-plus parks and our wonderful, vibrant downtown area. So you're right, there's always something going on in Royal Oak, particularly when we have such a wonderful summer. People are out and about looking to enjoy it.
Another interesting plan that's in the works for the city of Royal Oak is there's a plan that's being worked on to plant 500 new trees throughout neighborhoods in Royal Oak. And give some insight on, where that plan came from and how that will be executed to plant that many trees in the city.
Yeah, I should start by saying at least 500. That's what we're going for this year and next. But that started, we've long been a prioritized trees in our city. We've been a Tree City USA for 46 years, and we've held a policy that anytime we've taken a tree down from the street right of way, we've offered the ability to put it back at no cost to the homeowner. But thanks to some funding that we have, both from federal stimulus, also from the U.S. Forestry Service, we're able to expand that program this year and not just replace trees where there once was a tree that we might have had to take down, but also to take the opportunity to fill a lot of the gaps that we have along our neighborhood streets. And so we're leveraging that money this year and next year to hopefully make a really big impact, as you said, a minimum of 500 trees per year.
So is this something that's regularly done in the city? You mentioned that the city has a policy when they take down a tree in a city right of way, that they will replace that tree either near where that was taken down or somewhere else in the city. But this is a high volume of trees. It's 500 trees throughout the city. Is that about normal for a given year for the city of Royal Oak?
No, that's well more than double on average what we might plant in a typical year. And here again, I emphasize that 500 is just sort of our goal that we thought would be a successful program. I have to say, we opened up the sign up last week, and we already have more than 500 requests. So I'm happy about that. But yeah, no, this definitely takes it up to the next level. from what we've done typically. And our view on this is really kind of a long-term thing. You know, when the city was developed, a lot of neighborhoods, a lot of the trees in those neighborhoods were planted roughly around the same time. And the unfortunate consequence of that is that in time, we'll see some of these mature trees begin to fail around the same time as each other. And if we're not ahead of that and we're not being aggressive and proactive, we run into a situation where we could see some more barren neighborhoods. So we're hoping to get ahead of that. This is a project that, will immediately show some impact in the neighborhoods, but really the big impact is we're talking 15, 20 years from now when we continue to have beautiful tree-lined neighborhoods.
We're joined by Aaron Felipsky. He is the Director of Public Service as well as Recreation in the city of Royal Oak, joining us on the Oakland County Megacast. And Aaron, another great addition to the city before this summer season and for the summer season is the new splash pad at Normandy Oaks in Royal Oak. With these splash pads, there's been some recent articles about some of the drawbacks of these pads, particularly in some cases the spread of bacteria. You actually experienced some of that at Normandy Oaks and addressed it pretty quickly. Can you care to address the city of Royal Oaks actions in that scenario, and B, what you do at Normandy Oaks in order to monitor bacteria and contain it if it is found in any of your systems?
Sure. There's a couple different types of splash pads. One that just uses the city source water, flows it through and washes it down. And then there's others like the one we have, which is a recirculation system. And it saves a lot on water, but it requires us to treat it to a certain degree because some of the water that comes out is recirculated back through. And so we have to use a couple of different chemicals to treat that. It's largely done through an automated process with the equipment that we have, but we're required for health code to test that. Once a week, we have to test for bacteriological instances. And then daily, we test multiple times per day to make sure that our pH levels are okay, that the chemicals that we use are actually functioning appropriately. On the occasional event, we'll get a test that shows that there is an elevated level of bacteria in the water, which can come from a number of different sources. But in those instances, if we have two subsequent tests, subsequent tests that way, we have to shut down and do a sort of shock chlorination, let it flow, and then get a retest that does not indicate a positive result. And so that happens on occasion. It's the true experience of any splash pad operator that operates one of these recirculation systems. And as you mentioned, it has happened a couple of times to us this year. The biggest impact of that, I guess it's important to note that it's shut down because we're doing the appropriate testing as needed, but we understand it's a big disappointment. People get up in the morning, have plans to take the kids to the splash pad, and are often disappointed to see that we've had to close it for a day. So in those instances, as I said, we've closed it down, we super chlorinate and then flush, and then do a subsequent test. And so far each time, within about 24 hours, we've been able to reopen. It's one of the drawbacks of it, but generally it doesn't happen frequently. And our splash pad is really well used, particularly this summer with as hot as it's been.
We're joined by Aaron Felipsky. He's the Director of Public Service and Recreation for the city of Royal Oak, joining us on the Oakland County Megacast. More information on everything happening in the city of Royal Oak, including all the different recreation activities sponsored by the city, can be found at romi.gov. That's romi.gov or royaloakmichigan.gov for more information and keep up to date on everything happening in the city of Royal Oak. You can also follow them on Twitter at City of Royal Oak, the official Twitter account for the city of Royal Oak. You mentioned that it's one of the great benefits. The splash pad is one of the great benefits of the city for recreation in the summer. Looking toward the winter, no one wants to do it, but we're doing it for fun reasons here on the Megacast today. There's a proposal that's going to be decided on very soon about a potential for an ice rink in the downtown park in Royal Oak. Can you tell us about that, what the proposal, should it be passed, would allow in Royal Oak, and when Royal Oak residents and visitors will be able to access that should it pass?
Well, I'll stop short of talking any kind of detail precisely on what might or might not be. I anticipate this evening at the City Commission meeting, there will be an in-depth conversation on that, and we'll know a lot more coming from that. But more broadly, the proposal is to install a skating rink outside at the new Centennial Commons Park that would run, at least as preliminarily proposed, from late November through February. And so, that would provide residents a great environment, center of the city to go and enjoy that kind of winter activity. Remains to be seen what sort of action the commission may or may not take. So I would say let's hold out on that a little bit before we talk more about that. But if you're talking winter sports too, you mentioned Normandy Oaks. We do have a sled hill that was very popular last year. The first winter that it was really open. That'll be something that we can offer residents, regardless of the skating situation. That's always available.
We're joined by Aaron Felipsky. He's the Director of Public Service and Recreation in the city of Royal Oak, joining us on the Oakland County Megacast. Aaron, we focused so much on the recreation portion of things. Let's talk more on public service side. Is there anything that's been going on this summer or common issues that residents have been having that other residents should be keeping an eye out for and maybe alerting the city to, or other projects that may be worked on soon by the city that residents should be aware of in Royal Oak?
No, I have to say, knock on wood, it's been a pretty uneventful summer. Oftentimes, one of the challenges we have, if we have really strong rains, that sometimes there are some issues associated with that. We've been fortunate so far to avoid a lot of that. So no news on that front is always good news, and we're just doing our normal maintenance work and keeping a focus on that. Really, the biggest news I would say for this summer and what we're really trying to get the word out for is what we started with, I guess, is the tree program. That's kind of the big focus, at least for the Department of Public Services this summer, getting that up and going. So.
We're joined by Aaron Felipsky on the Oakland County Megacast, Director of Public Service and Recreation for the city of Royal Oak. More information can be found on the city's website, romi.gov. That's romi.gov to keep up to date on everything happening in the city of Royal Oak. Aaron, another few minutes with you before we'll say goodbye today. Anything else that residents or visitors of Royal Oak should be keeping an eye out for in the near future on the recreation side or on the public service side?
No, we look forward to having visitors. I mean, for our summer festivals, particularly Arts, Beats, and Eats, and the others. And beyond that, we hope that, maybe they'll see a lot of young trees planted throughout the city, and they can see that we're really publicly demonstrating our commitment to the environment and building neighborhood aesthetics and neighborhood pride, and positioning us just to continue to be a great place to work and live. I would mention, you mentioned the website, if I can plug the website for Royal Oak residents that would like a tree. It's romi.gov/trees. That'll take you right to the sign up page along with some other information, some questions, frequently asked questions and things. And we hope that when we know we've reached 500, we hope we can get a lot more. The best case would be that we have far too much interest in trees that we can plant this year. And some of those people interested will have to carry over to the following year.
romi.gov/trees for more information, as Aaron said, romi.gov/trees for all the information that you need to know. And then the Royal Oak Arts, Beats, and Eats Festival is coming up in September. That's Labor Day weekend, Friday, September 2nd, running through Monday, September 5th. More information can be found on artsbeatseats.com, or of course, stay up to date on everything happening in the city of Royal Oak at romi.gov. Aaron, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Tyler.
Appreciate you joining us again. romi.gov/trees for information. If you're living in the city of Royal Oak and would be interested in some trees from the city being planted in your home space, ROMI or romi.gov/trees for more information. We'll take a break, and on the other side, we'll continue on your radio homes for the Megacast. 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake and 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills, as well as the remainder of our network, kicking off the Michigan Megacast, talking about tourism, some of your favorite locations, all the usual places, some hidden gems and places you may never have even heard of, with Candace Smith from Tours Around Michigan. That's up next on the Michigan Megacast.
Let's savor these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Let's whoop it up for these moments, Made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the cheering going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head-on, visit michigan.gov/flu. Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be like happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Connect with local leaders, philanthropists, and more. The Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce presents the 2022 Leadership Breakfast. Join the Chamber for a morning of insight with guest speaker Laura Graneman, with the whole event emceed by Fox 2 News anchor Roop Raj. Join your local businesses at the Wabeat Country Club September 13th at 8:30 a.m. Order your tickets by September 6th at westbloomfieldchamber.com/breakfast. We'll see you there.
Let's savor these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Let's whoop it up for these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the cheering going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head-on, visit michigan.gov/flu.
Welcome to the Michigan Megacast. I'm Tyler Kieft, welcoming you to our live 5 days a week look into all things Michigan. Today, we'll be talking to tourism experts, nonprofit leaders, and more about topics of interest and importance to Michiganders like you. Learn more on our website at civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll find information on our entire network of stations, including our co-flagship for the Michigan Megacast, My Michigan TV, otherwise known as My. Joining us now on the Michigan Megacast is the owner and operator of Tours Around Michigan. Candace Smith joins us now on the Michigan Megacast. Candace, welcome to the program.
Hi, thanks so much. It's fun to be here.
Yeah, good to have you on. So Tours Around Michigan, you're the owner and the operator, a self-described storyteller, history lover, and tourism expert. As the owner of this business, what about running tours around Michigan excites you and impassions you about our Great Lakes state?
Well, I'm kind of a history geek, so that doesn't hurt. But I love sharing the stories with people, whether they're visiting from other places or they're local from the area, because I find these really unique stories that most people haven't heard. And they're always really surprised at what we have here in Michigan. And even people that live here, like they don't realize the buildings they walked past a million times, or the statue and who it is or what it means, or even, what happened to the rapids in Grand Rapids, that sort of thing. So I love being able to just introduce people to a new way of looking at things. We create experiences also where we might set up tastings and stuff like that for groups, for private groups, and just introducing them to the great food we have here and all the great craft beverages, and just giving them a lot more than they expected, like having them walk away wanting to keep exploring and wanting to keep, coming downtown or going to a certain place or just exploring Michigan more. I really think it's a win for all of us, if somebody falls in love with Michigan a little bit more and wants to spend more time here.
So there's so many different ways to teach people, both Michiganders and visitors from the U.S. and around the world, about places like Michigan, about our history, about some of the interesting factoids about the Great Lakes state. Why tours as the vehicle for that teaching method?
Well, my background is international public relations and news, which is all storytelling and sort of my whole arc there, my origin story. And with tours, I get to be with people when they're treating themselves. So they're going on a special date, or they're having, a team bonding with their team, or they're at a conference, and it's a way for them to explore the area where they are. And so I really get people when they are treating themselves, when they're having fun, when they're spending family time together or friend time together or coworker time together. And so I like that my job is just really to bring joy, to get people to break away from, whatever is bothering them or giving them anxiety, and just enjoy a little bit, and I get kind of silly with it. I know I've talked to you guys before about my ghost tours, and I have people that I have creepy dolls that people carry during those, just because it's fun. And so, I love just having people being able to loosen up a little bit and laugh and I give them permission to be a little silly and to just relax and laugh about things and just kind of escape a little bit.
So these aren't your typical tours where you're on the back of a trolley or in a bus just traveling through a city or traveling through another location, and someone's up front with a microphone saying, on your left now is this or that, a little bit of a factoid, and then you're moving on. This really is an interactive experience people can go through with these tours from your organization.
It is, and I do, so I do all kinds of tours. So I also do the microphone on the bus kind of thing, because my walking tours, we're walking around town, getting up close to things. We have a lot of big motor coaches that come into Michigan, and so I sometimes will step on those motor coaches. But when I'm with people, I just had a veterans group this past week. And I was with them for 3 hours, so we started in like this historic lobby that's beautiful that was in the hotel where they were staying. And I talked about the history of the hotel and that Queens had stayed there. And, it was designed by the same people that designed Grand Central Station in New York and helped them look at their own hotel in a new way. I took them down by the river and we talked about the history of the river and how that changed. And then we all got on the motor coach and I showed them around the city. And then I took them to our historic home district, got them off there a couple of times and walked around and talked about the different houses and the history and how people, some notable people that that lived in Grand Rapids. William Lear had a home here. He was actually recruited to come to Grand Rapids. So Learjet, he was a great inventor, and he invented a lot here, and people that really changed the world that lived here in Michigan or are from Michigan. And those are such great stories to share. So whether I'm doing that walking around with people or doing it from a vehicle, I just enjoy helping open people's eyes and helping them see what they have around them in a different way.
We're joined by Candice Smith. She is the owner and operator of Tours Around Michigan, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. More information can be found on toursaroundmichigan.com. That's toursaroundmichigan.com. And you mentioned a lot of these tours are able to show a really extensive look at the city and the history of Grand Rapids. When people visit Michigan and looking for a big city experience, so often they go to Detroit and they kind of leave Grand Rapids, which is another major city, a top 100 media market also here in the United States, out of the fold. What about Grand Rapids makes it such an interesting and unique city, given its history, but also that it is a rather large city right here on the west side of the state?
Mm-hmm. If you look up Grand Rapids specifically, you'll see it tops a lot of lists. Places to live, places to start a business, places to raise a family. It's a top LGBT friendly city. It's a very artistic city. It is a beer city USA. We're top in distillery. We're a foodie city. So it has all these things combined that just really make it this amazing experience. It's also very walkable downtown. So when people come, they can walk to a lot of different things, museums and events. But I think the biggest thing about Grand Rapids is this energy in it. It is just this very community-oriented energy. It's an energy where people love living here. They love being here. All year round, we have events downtown. So in the summer, it's like swing dancing every Tuesday, and they do, we have all these different festivals happening. But even in the winter, we have ice sculptures, and we have things that go for weeks in the winter, where we have, one of the largest ice sculpture festivals in the nation, and, all this light up art because it gets darker sooner. So we have all this art that lights up and people can walk around when it's dark outside. And of course, we have Artprize, which is an international art competition that is in Grand Rapids every year in end of September, early October. And we have thousands of pieces for that, like 2,000 pieces. And it's in the river, it's on the bridges, it's indoors, it's outdoors, it's everywhere. And so there is this energy here that is just positive and really makes it just a good experience for people, whether they're visiting or they're living here. It's just a really nice experience. And, we have other cities in Michigan too that are doing great things, especially along the Lake Michigan Lakeshore, over on the East Coast, of Michigan, in the Saginaw Midland area. There are a lot of awesome things over there that allow people to have these unique experiences that really stick with them.
Yeah, each of these cities in Michigan, large cities, medium-sized cities, even the smaller cities, really have their own identity and their own feel and their expertise that makes them unique to Michigan, but even unique beyond Michigan and really interesting. And that's why it's important to have organizations like yours that are really giving people that inside look so that they're learning really a lot about where they're going while also having the fun in those cities that they're looking for. We're joined on the Michigan Megacast by Candice Smith, owner and operator of Tours Around Michigan. More information can be found on their website, toursaroundmichigan.com. That's toursaroundmichigan.com, or you can call them for more information at 616-970-4825. 616-970-4825 for more information about the tours, including public tours and private tours. So there's a lot of options for people if they want to take tours in Grand Rapids or in other areas to get the experience that they're looking for. Can you talk about some of those options that they have and how those differ from maybe the public tours versus the private tours?
So the private tours, many times, it's usually typically a group of people that want a unique private experience for them. So that can just be an evening thing where we're going on a ghost tour and then going into haunted places for tastings and food and that kind of thing. I do a lot of corporate convention type of tours with that, or bachelorette parties. They really like that too. But some of the private tours I've been getting, and I've seen this change since the pandemic hit, and that is people, now that they can travel, they're really looking for the experience that is just for them. They don't want to deal with crowds. They don't want to deal with, being with other people. They just want what they want, and they're traveling and they want it the way they want it, when they want it. And so I am being hired more often by an individual or a couple or a family that really just wants me with them, that wants somebody from Tours Around Michigan to be with them, sometimes 5-6 days, just to actually take them to different parts of the state so they can just get the most out of their own trip here.
We're joined by Candace Smith, the owner and operator of Tours Around Michigan, joining us on the Michigan Megacast, a variety of private tours, including a historic home tour, custom tours, virtual tours, and more. And then the public tours include the entire city of Grand Rapids, a ghost tour for those looking for a little more of a spooky experience, as well as many others, such as the art and murals, breweries in Beer City, wine tour, a distillery tour, a church tour, and more. So many different facets of Grand Rapids you can learn about with Tours Around Michigan. We are, of course, as I said, joined by Candace Smith, the owner and operator of Tours Around Michigan on the Michigan Megacast. Mentioned in the private tours is the virtual tours. Can you take us on a journey of what those experiences are like? Because for so many people, this is a great option for them still, as we're in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic, even though we're at a different stage than maybe we were 18 months ago, 2.5 years ago, at the beginning of this process. Tell us about the virtual tours and how people in Michigan and outside of Michigan can take benefit in learning about our state from the comfort of their own home.
Yeah, and so right now the virtual tours are private groups. So usually private groups will hire me to do this for whatever number of people they have. And I have a couple different types, and I also can develop them in other topics if it interests people. But what I've done, I have a series of 5 churches in Grand Rapids, and each one talks about a different church. And one thing I love about the churches, of course, they're beautiful, the architecture and the art, but the history and immigration history is so closely linked to our homes of faith here in the state. Here in Grand Rapids, we would have people that would come over from a village in Poland, and they would start bringing their friends and their neighbors and their family. And so we have practically a huge chunk of this village in Poland that moved here to Grand Rapids, and they all lived in the same neighborhood, and they started a church. And they built that church. And then when they built their huge church, which is now our basilica here in Grand Rapids, they modeled it after this medieval church that was in their village in Poland. And so the immigrant story, I think, is so fascinating, and our churches are so closely linked to that. They would help support people in bringing people over. They would find them jobs. They would find them a place to live. And for many years, the church was their life. It was everything. It was their social life. People were connected through work. In fact, with the basilica that I mentioned, we have the basilica on one block. Right next to it on the next block is Whitcomb Furniture, where a lot of Polish immigrants who attended the basilica, so it's all just connected together. And there was a big furniture strike in 1911, where that particular furniture company had a crowd of about 2,000 people around it who were protesting and then bringing in some other workers during the strike. And it was not just the workers, who also attended the church next door, but it was the workers, their wives, the children. Like, it's the whole neighborhood that's surrounding this furniture factory. And that's because that was their whole life right there. It was work, it was church, it was family, and that was their life. And that's the story of a lot of immigration, how people got here, why they settled here. And even that particular church is on Grand Rapids West Side. Still, the West Side identifies very heavily Polish, German, Lithuanian, those are the people that came there, and they just established their own identity that even, 170 years later is still in place. Like, that's still the identity there.
And it's such an interesting story and really speaks to the gradual development of the city of Grand Rapids over time. I heard so much as a kid because my dad, as well as his brother and his sisters, grew up on the west side of the state in Grand Haven. And so whenever we would drive through Grand Rapids and see the big city skyline on the highway, he would tell us a story about, it never really used to be that way. When I was growing up, there was a few buildings there. You drive by, you were in Grand Rapids, and then he'd make a certain gesture because of how the buildings used to look that I cannot make on television at this moment in time. So we'll move on from there. So tell us a little bit more about how that factors in to some of the history of Grand Rapids that goes into this tour. It's just how much of that development has been from all of these different elements of the community kind of coming together in a variety of different ways, all of which you can explore with tours around Michigan.
Mm-hmm. And we did have a lot of different people immigrating, not only from Europe, and they would come in as there were things happening in Europe. So there would be a war or something like that. And so you'd get a big flood of Germans in the 1850s and a big flood of Polish starting in the 1860s, and so you'd start getting these people moving in. And, we have some of the buildings today, like the Basilica, which is modeled after a building in Poland. But also as business grew and that sort of thing, so did our skyline, and so did and so did the uses for those different buildings. So we have a building here built in 1892 called the Trust Building. And when that was built in 1892, it was considered a skyscraper. It was about 10 stories high. And that was a skyscraper, and there were postcards about it being so tall. It was an important business building. In fact, President Ford had his first law office there after he graduated from Yale. President Roosevelt gave a campaign speech out of the windows there in 1900. And so, as these buildings became more prominent and important, other things would develop around them because they wanted to be close to this important building. And also, like with many cities, and this happened all over Michigan in the 50s and 60s, we lost a lot of the really beautiful buildings we had through urban renewal. So at the time, there was federal money available to demolish these old buildings that were seen as, old-fashioned and dirty and broken. And so they would demolish these buildings and then build new ones, that were more cement and that sort of thing. And at the time, they were considered modern, and they would bring people back to the city after everyone had escaped to the suburbs. And, so that really changed our landscape too. And I've done private tours on urban renewal and urban planning and that sort of thing for some like specialty groups because it really did change the way Grand Rapids looked. And Grand Rapids actually became a leader in historic preservation because of that, because we lost some really beautiful buildings. And then our historic home district now is one of the largest in the nation in the sense of the footprint. And so that was slated to be demolished, like a good portion of it for a project. And so the people who lived there created the historic home district. So they registered 1,300 homes and then worked with state government to use laws that would prevent those homes from being demolished using federal funds, so urban renewal money. And so they were able to do that and save the historic home district, so save Heritage Hill. And that law that was used here in Michigan that was, cultured to save Heritage Hill, that has actually been used as an example nationally for other historic preservation laws. So Michigan was really at the forefront of that historic preservation movement that came after urban renewal because many cities, many states had lost their own beautiful buildings because it made sense politically, or they thought it would bring people back to the city. And so we're really proud here in Michigan, to be able to be the leaders in historic preservation, and that other people saw what we were doing and decided to do it in their state also.
Michiganders love their history, they love their cities, and they love to tell the stories of the Great Lakes state. Candace, appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. This was wonderful.
616-970-4825 is the phone number. 616-970-4825 to call them for more information. You can also send them an email, info@toursaroundmichigan.com. Follow them on social media everywhere at Tours Around Michigan, except Twitter. It's Tours Around MI. They're keeping us on our toes.
Yeah, but we're also on TikTok and Instagram and LinkedIn and YouTube, and I share all kinds of different things on those. Just little fun things that I can't share elsewhere. So.
And all those can be found on their website, toursaroundmichigan.com. Appreciate it, Candace.
Thank you so much.
We'll take a break on the Michigan Megacast. When we come back from history to science, we'll be joined by Dr. Christian Greer from the Michigan Science Center up next on the Michigan Megacast.
In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head-on, visit michigan.gov/flu. Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be like happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Welcome back to the Michigan Megacast. I'm Tyler Kieft, welcoming you back to our live 5 days a week look into all things Michigan. Stay up to date on everything we're doing with the Michigan Megacast by visiting our website at civiccentertv.com/megacast or by visiting our co-flagship My Michigan TV's website, mymytv.com, mymytv.com, to learn more about our entire network of stations, find our shows on demand, and of course, to keep up to date on everything we're doing with the Oakland County and the Michigan Megacasts each and every day. Joining us now on the Michigan Megacast is the director of the Michigan Science Center, Dr. Christian Greer. So many great events, programs, and learning opportunities right there at the Michigan Science Center. Dr. Greer, thanks for joining us today.
It's good to see you again, Tyler.
It's good to see you as well. So let's start off with everything that's happening this summer at the Michigan Science Center. Some exciting things are coming up in late July and as well into the month of August and certainly throughout the fall. Can you give us some insight on some of the things that are coming up very soon that would be really interesting for people to explore at the Michigan Science Center?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you giving us this opportunity to tell people about our family late night. You know, it's so interesting. We talk about remote work and different kinds of flexible schedules that people have today. And we need to do the same thing for families. Families need an opportunity to flex their time to be able to get together and have quality experiences outside the home. So we wanted to provide a late night opportunity. We're experimenting with this idea of having the Science Center do programs outside of its normal hours. So normally we are a Wednesday through Sunday organization, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And we just decided this summer, to try a family late night. It will happen on this Saturday, July 30th from 5 to 8. And we're hoping to have fun 80s themed activities in connection to our Popnology exhibit that's been going on, very popular all summer. It's a mix between pop culture and technology mashed together. So it's going to be a fun night of games, of excitement, and of STEM or STEAM-based experiences.
We're joined by Dr. Christian Greer. He is the president and CEO of the Michigan Science Center, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. Dr. Greer, also part of the late night events for families, as well as a lot of other programming at the Michigan Science Center this summer, is the return of the opening of the IMAX theater at the Michigan Science Center. It's undergone a lot of improvements since it was last open just a short while ago. Can you tell us about some of those improvements and how that's going to improve the experience that's already quite amazing at any IMAX theater?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, we have an IMAX dome theater, and so we project on one of the largest domes in Michigan, might be the largest dome in Michigan. It's an amazing experience, and it's been around for almost 50 years. It's hard to believe that the IMAX concept has been around that long. And some of the first theaters were actually dome theaters. Many of us are familiar with the 4-story tall flat screens that we see in IMAX for, first run Hollywood films. But I really like the dome experience. It's wraparound 360, makes you feel immersive. We're showing a film called Asteroid Hunters, and it's all about trying to find those asteroids that might be headed towards Earth. There's a team of scientists and astronomers all over the world that are kind of an Earth defense squad, if you will, that are looking for these. And this film covers all that. But the big news about our IMAX is the seats. We've had the seats that were in there prior, were there for it's been since the late 70s, maybe 78, 79, when the theater was first installed. And it's so interesting to think about how just the change in seating makes a difference. We partnered with Magna, who designs many of the seats probably in your own vehicles. They're a company that has offices here locally in Southeast Michigan. They did a fantastic job, Tyler, and they designed a custom seat. There's no other seat like this in the world. It's very comfortable, and it allows you to sit back and relax and enjoy the IMAX experience. So we're excited about that.
So you mentioned Asteroid Hunters is one of the current movies that's in your IMAX theater. Any plans for other movies coming in the near future that people should be on the lookout for, that they can experience there, and what really is, as you said, an immersive experience in the movie theater?
Well, IMAX always had sort of this tagline of taking you there. And when you think about it, I mean, I've never been to the pyramids at Giza. I've never been to the Amazon. I've never been to Antarctica or the bottom of the ocean to see Titanic. And yet I feel like I was there, right? And many of you that are listening to this probably feel the same way because of the immersive experience that happens in IMAX. So we're looking for new films that will be available. We can't announce anything yet because we're still negotiating on what's there. But usually we like water films do really well. Sort of those films that do tours of different wild places around the world are fun. So that's kind of our formula for looking for films. Right now we're showing Asteroid Hunters because of the James Webb Space Telescope has been a really exciting thing, seeing all these pictures of the universe from back in the early stages of the universe. And but I like the water films. They're the most fun. They have the best soundtracks, and usually those are the ones I like. So hopefully we'll get a water film or something similar.
We're joined by Dr. Christian Greer on the Michigan Megacast. He is the president and the CEO of the Michigan Science Center, joining us on the program today. More information can be found on their website, mi-sci.org. That's mi-sci.org for more information. You can also follow them on social media on Twitter, mi_sci. SCI on Twitter is their handle for more information on upcoming programs and ongoing initiatives at the Michigan Science Center, one of which you talked about, Dr. Greer, is the Popnology program. Very popular, very well received since it's begun earlier on this year. Can you talk about, what that program entails and how much longer people in Michigan that are visiting the Michigan Science Center or others coming into the state to visit the Michigan Science Center will have to experience Popnology?
Well, earlier this spring, we got a call from an exhibit touring company called EDG. I'd worked with them before in other positions at other organizations, science centers where I've worked. And they said, hey, we might have a deal for you. We've got this exhibit. It doesn't have a place to go yet. And we're talking to a bunch of science centers. Would you want it? And I said, well, what is it? And they said, it's exhibit Popnology. And I was not familiar with the exhibit. So I look it up online and I thought, what a cool concept to look at pop culture as a way to teach people about science and technology. We love pop culture. We love our Star Wars films. Many of you remember the film E.T., the featured Back to the Future. We have a DeLorean, a Back to the Future DeLorean. Doc Brown's DeLorean that's in the exhibit. And it just plucks cool things that we remember and that we're interested in out of the film format, puts it into an exhibit and teaches you about the first smartphones and other kinds of technologies that we use, like rockets and landing on Mars, robotics, and some even, I think we have 3 Oculus Quests that are in there that you can try to do virtual reality. It's been an exciting exhibit. I wasn't sure what people would think of it. I remember the 80s growing up, of course, and as many of these films, but I did not know just how much that pop culture permeates some of the lives of even young kids, and some of these things that they're into in terms of their games that they play incorporates some 80s themes. So we're excited about this exhibit. It's in a space that's almost 9,000 square feet. So it's a big space on our 4th floor. It's free with admission. So when you come to the Science Center to see it, if you come for our late night program this Saturday, July 30th, from 5 to 8, you can come check it out. And our admission is discounted, $10 for members and $15 for non-members. Usually the adult price is $18. So we understand that there's some affordability challenges that people have as a result of our economic situation and inflation. So we're trying to keep everything reasonable in terms of checking us out.
mi-sci.org is the website for more information on all the programs at the Michigan Science Center. We're joined by Dr. Christian Greer, the CEO and the president of the Michigan Science Center on the Michigan Megacast. Dr. Greer, so many of these programs are highly interactive, even going back to what we already spoke about with the IMAX Theater at the Michigan Science Center being a really immersive experience. When you and your team are forming these different programs and are in negotiations to bring different interesting and cool exhibits into the Michigan Science Center, how much of a factor is interactivity in that learning experience in providing these exhibits to residents of Michigan and certainly the visitors coming in to visit Michigan Science Center?
Tyler, I'm glad you mentioned that because it's not often discussed, but before science centers were science centers, and many of the newer science centers were created in the late 60s. And they featured a lot of interactive exhibits. Prior to that, science museums had artifacts and cases, things you couldn't touch and interact with. And a group of people got together in the field and decided that they wanted to change that and sort of bring what was behind the case to life. When you think about science as a process, it's a process that's active. It's a process where you create what we used to call educated guesses about the world around us, about phenomena. And that turns into a hypothesis, which you are designing to test through experimentation. And that experimentation is supposed to help you disprove a hypothesis. So once you've eliminated all the things that can't be true, whatever's left must be closer to that truth. And understanding that reality you have to do as an active process. So interactivity in a science center is what it's all about. And what I mean by interactivity is I'm describing the fact that you're not just passively looking at something, you're actually manipulating, changing, modifying things to get us in the mood to experiment, because that's what science is all about. So we can do that with the physical sciences, we can do that with biological sciences. And when you compare an IMAX film or immersive experience, and we have other theaters, we have a planetarium planetarium. We have our Toyota 4D engineering theater. We have our science stage where we do our demonstrations. It just gives people a chance to feel like science is for them. If you go to our website, my-sci.org, you'll see right there, plastered on the front, our mission, which is to put you at the center of science. It's not us, it's you as the person experiencing your reality, the phenomenon around you, and trying to understand more about it through the scientific process. So that's what interactivity is all about.
And so important too, as we talk about trying to encourage more people in Michigan, particularly young people in Michigan, to go into STEM careers or explore STEM careers, especially those young kids who are learning these concepts for the first time, or maybe even haven't learned them yet in school, to see these concepts in action at the Michigan Science Center and other hands-on experiences in the sciences across the state is so important in developing those skills early and sparking that interest early. It has an impact not only on their education, but also on the future of our economy here in Michigan and the progress in so many areas worldwide.
Yes, that's so true, Tyler, because I think I'll just give you a quick story. Prior to the Popnology exhibit, we had an exhibit called Math Alive. We're a Smithsonian affiliate, and the Math Alive originally about 12 or 13 years ago premiered at the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. It's a great exhibit because it really is not so much about math as it is about the world around you. And then it describes what the math is. So in informal education, which is what we really focus on here, a little different from K-12, we kind of do this in the reverse. You know, K-12, there's content, there's curriculum. You start with the content and you work backwards, making it interesting and fun and interactive. On our side of things, in informal education, you reverse it. You start with what's fun and interesting and relevant to people, like pop culture, like other things, and then you tease out some of the things in science. So we did this with math. We had a kid that went through and got all the, played all the games and was really interacting with things. And we even had a Kahoot activity and another card game. And this kid was just rocking it, understood everything. His mom came to one of our educators and said, I can't understand it. My son is not good at math, yet he's so good at this exhibit. And this happens all the time because it's the format. It's the way that you teach that sometimes, depending on the learner and how they want to access their knowledge and learn, they might want to do it in a hands-on way. They might want to use bodily kinesthetic activities. They might want to use something called embodied learning, which is another kind of pedagogy that you can use to engage people that we use all the time. So I think it makes all the difference in the world because a STEM professional does not have to be one-dimensional. And I should also say what we consider a STEM career might be changing because we're so much immersed in it right now. Even just being on your show, there's technology at work. There are technicians and engineers that help make this stuff work. And so it makes all the difference for kids to be exposed early and often to it and to recognize that they can do STEM too. And that's why we put you at the center of science.
Dr. Christian Greer joins us from the Michigan Science Center. He's the president and CEO with us on the Michigan Megacast. Dr. Greer, a couple more minutes with you before we'll say goodbye today. Yeah. Anything else that we haven't discussed that's coming up at the Michigan Science Center or that people should be on the lookout for in the near future?
Well, great. Well, just as a reminder, our family late night is this weekend, Saturday, July 30th. From 5 to 8 p.m. We're using reduced ticket prices, $10 for members. So get a membership. It's only $99. You can bring 2 adults or 2 caregivers and 6 kids, which is a lot of fun. It's $15 for non-members. And, another thing I forgot to mention, for active duty military, we're also part of the Blue Star Family Network, which allows you to get free general admission at our organization if you just present an ID or you have the ID of a spouse that's overseas or in active duty military. It's a great way to get the military families to have some opportunities to do as well and do that together because sometimes they can't always see each other. So if you're in town with your active duty spouse or partner, hey, bring them down to the Science Center. We'll get them in. And then we're hoping to do more IMAX films in the future and other activities in the fall. And it's just an exciting time for us for exhibits, for programs and activities. We have a lot of new staff with fresh, smiling faces that are excited to teach STEM to the public. And we're just happy to be able to promote this on the Megacast and to get people to come down to the Science Center, to Midtown Detroit, to be put at the center of science. How about that?
Dr. Greer, appreciate it. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Appreciate having you on. Dr. Christian Greer from the Michigan Science Center, mi-sci.com for more information on the Michigan Science Center. We'll take a break on the Michigan Megacast. When we come back, we'll talk to one of over 300 charities and nonprofits supported on the charity Share Detroit platform. The Mercy Education Project's Mark Malls joins us next on the Michigan Megacast.
Connect with local leaders, philanthropists, and more. The Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce presents the 2022 Leadership Breakfast. Join the Chamber for a morning of insight with guest speaker Laura Graneman, with the whole event emceed by Fox 2 News anchor Roop Raj. Join your local businesses at the Wabeat Country Club September 13th at 8:30 a.m. Order your tickets by September 6th at westbloomfieldchamber.com/breakfast. We'll see you there.
Let's whoop it up for these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the cheering going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head-on, visit michigan.gov/flu. Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
Welcome back to the Michigan Megacast, our live 5 days a week daily look into all things Michigan. Today we'll be talking to more people about great things happening all across the Great Lakes state. I'm Tyler Kieft. Joining us now on the Michigan Megacast is Mark Malls. He is the executive director of the Mercy Education Project, one of over 300 charities and nonprofits supported on the Share Detroit platform. Mark, thanks for joining us today.
Tyler, thank you for this opportunity.
Appreciate having you on. So first off, give us a little bit of background, the history and the mission of the Mercy Education Project.
So this year, Tyler, we're celebrating our 30th anniversary in the city of Detroit. The Sisters of Mercy back in 1992. We're looking at the situation in Detroit, especially when it comes to education and the disadvantages that were there, especially with women and children, particularly girls in Southwest Detroit. And they made the decision to start a new project, and that is Mercy Education Project, to educate girls, starting as a tutoring program, but very quickly also looking at the mothers of those girls and other women in the community to help educate them. So they moved into the St. Vincent Middle School near the Michigan train station, and they stayed there for about 10 years. And we've been in our new facility on Howard near Trumbull for the last 20 years.
So what are some of the services or the resources that are provided through your education to bolster organization, to bolster the education to these marginalized groups, in particular, those women and those girls in Southwest Detroit?
Yeah, so we have two programs, Tyler. We have the women's program and the girls program. Women's program starts in the morning until early afternoon, and it starts really as an adult basic education program. Almost all of our women, 97% of them, come in below a 9th grade level in school. And so we're starting with adult basic education, some of them starting in 3rd, 4th, 5th grade level. in order to get them to that time and place where they can start GED preparation. So the ultimate goal is for many of these women to get their GED, and it can take many years, and we're there as long as they need us to be. Then in the afternoon, we have our girls program, which is multifaceted. The girls are picked up from their schools and brought to Mercy Education Project. They're fed a nutritious meal, and then they have an activity time. That activity time sometimes is STEAM focused, sometimes is social emotional learning focused, something to really help them in their lives. That goes on for an hour. Then the next hour, they actually go into a one-on-one tutoring session with a tutor who's been trained to help them in either reading and math. This year, we're really excited. We also focused on homework help in between that time too. So the girls really spend 3 solid hours at Mercy Education Project in the evenings. And I'll tell you, I'm a tutor. I've been a tutor there for 7 years now, even though I just began as executive director. And those girls don't want to go home. If we had sleeping quarters for them, they'd probably want to stay the night if they could. That's how much they enjoy the programs that we offer them.
We're joined by Mark Malls. He's the executive director of the Mercy Education Project, one of over 300 charities and nonprofits supported on the Share Detroit platform. Go to sharedetroit.org and go to their Find Nonprofits link to find more information, or go to mercyed.net for more information on the organization, including programs and ways you can get involved. mercyed.net for more information, and kind of going to the root of these issues. And I'm sure this is a very loaded question. What are some of those factors that are going into these disparities in education, in particular for women and girls in Southwest Detroit, that makes the work of your organization, the resources of your organization, so critical in these communities?
Well, as we know, poverty causes the most disparity across the world, and is very true for the women and the girls that we serve. Poverty just brings about many more obstacles and barriers, and especially, unfortunately, even in this day and age, for a female, those are often multiplied. Many of our women are working and have more than one job. They're also caring for family, all these other responsibilities. There's lack of transportation, something we've dealt with in the city of Detroit for a long time. And our women are victim of that as well, trying to get to and from not only their workplaces, but to and from Mercy Education Project. And so, those barriers and obstacles, they hit our young girls as well, and those families who are struggling, just struggling with academics. We also have a number of our students are, hopefully first generation college students, and the illiteracy rate in the city of Detroit and major cities around the world continues to be very high. And so many times we have children who are going home to adults who can't even help them with their homework. And so I know one of the goals of some of our women is simply to get that education so they can actually help their girls, their children at home with their own homework, let alone go out there to get that job to better their family life.
And you think about education, it has such generational impacts, that getting that education, or even getting to that level where you can be even with your kids, can have a significant impact on their ability to improve their education over time, which of course is going to affect their upward mobility. And so organizational interventions such as yours can really be a critical point in helping these families to spring out of poverty and discontinue a really vicious cycle of issues that are prevalent in communities like this in Southwest Michigan, in Southwest Detroit.
I agree, Tyler. Generational poverty, it's gone on for too long. And education is one of those keys. It's one of those, we have this, we use the doorway as one of our themes, opening the doorway. We open our doors as wide as we can to the community, allowing as many women and girls in as we can. But it's also opening that other set of doors, the doors that are going to propel them out into the world. And we agree that education is the key, or one of the major keys, to ending that generational poverty.
We're joined by Mark Malls. He is the executive director of the Mercy Education Project, one of over 300 charities and nonprofits supported on the Share Detroit platform. More information on mercyed.net. That's mercyed.net for more information. Mark, how do people get involved in tapping into these resources? How do they come to your organization? Are you finding them through the school systems, or are they coming to you, vice versa?
For many, many years, word of mouth has been key among the families in Southwest Detroit. And word of mouth, especially with our women's program, word gets out among the different families as well. But we also go out into the community. We go out into the local schools in Southwest Detroit and talk to principals, talk to counselors, trying to identify those students who are most in need, who can benefit from the resources we have. It's also a matter of trying to team up with other organizations in our area that also provide resources like ours. None of us can go out there and be everything to everyone. And so collaborating and partnering with other organizations is important. And Share Detroit, of course, helps us to do that. And we're very happy to be on their platform.
We're joined by Mark Malls. He is the executive director of the Mercy Education Project, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. More information on their website, mercyed.net. That's mercyed.net. For more information, you can also call them at 313-963-5881. That's 313-963-5881 for more information. And again, their website, mercyed.net, mercyed.net. There are plenty of ways that this organization can help people, but the community also needs to provide help to these kinds of organizations. To provide that help to the community, fundraising always a key factor with any nonprofit. I want to give you a chance, Mark, to talk about your upcoming golf outing. It's a fundraising opportunity. It's the side-by-side golf outing presented by Mercy Education Project. Tell us about that event, how people can get involved, and how it will help your organization to continue its mission in the future.
Thank you for mentioning that, Tyler. Yes, on August the 25th at Fox Hills out in Plymouth, we have our annual golf outing. This is one of two major fundraisers for us. And everything that we offer to the women and girls at Mercy Education Project is at no cost to them, which means that all the money that we need to run our programs, both women's and girls programs, is all through the generosity of others. And so the side-by-side golf outing on August 25th at Fox Hills in Plymouth is one way of doing that. If you go to mercyed.net, you'll see a link immediately to link to our golf site. There are ways to, first of all, we're still looking for golfers. So a single golfer, a foursome, whatever you'd like to bring, but also those donations to help, especially with underwriting and sponsoring our events. So again, all the proceeds go to helping our women and children because they come into MEP paying nothing for all the resources that we give to them. So I just encourage you to go out to mercyed.net, go to the golf page and help us out.
mercyed.net for more information, mercyed.net. And again, their phone number, 313-963-5881, 313-963-5881 for more information. Thursday, August 25th, 9 a.m., shotgun scramble start. You to join them at the side-by-side golf tournament. Again, mercyed.net for more information and other ways that people can help too, or by, as you said, you started out as a volunteer with this organization as a teacher. What sort of opportunities are there for volunteerism to help your organization further its mission?
Yeah, for sure. Tutors. Tutors are really critical to our after-school girls program. That one-on-one tutoring, building that relationship, it brought me back year after year. I've been with the same girl now. Her name is Angela. I've been with her for 4 years as a tutor. And I can tell you, I'm getting way more out of this experience than I'm possibly given to Angela as a tutor. So we're looking for tutors. We're also this year, we're looking for mentors for our high school girls. So tutoring ages 2 through 12. And also mentors for our high school, especially 11th and 12th graders in our college and career readiness program. You can go on our website, again, mercyed.net, go to the programs tab. You'll see the women's program and girls program there, ways to get involved. There's also a tab for get involved for volunteerism, or you can go to Share Detroit and also sign up to be a tutor and or a mentor.
Mark, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us. Before we let you go another couple of minutes, anything else at this time that would be important for our audience to know or to keep in consideration about your organization or other things that we haven't talked about yet today?
I think it's just really important to highlight the fact that we are a female-centric organization. We're one of the few out there that really focus on the needs of women and girls, especially those who are coming from the communities we serve. And so the more support that you can give us in this fight to really bring about that equality and equity that we all want in our life, it would be much appreciated. Thank you, Tyler, for your time.
Appreciate yours as well, Mark. Appreciate it. Executive Director of the Mercy Education Project. More information, again, can be found mercyed.net. That's mercyed.net for more info about their programs, ways you can get involved, both through volunteerism in the form of teaching or mentoring or other opportunities, and of course, ways you can donate as well as participate in their fundraising events that are so critical to providing these services to women and girls in Southwest Detroit. mercyed.net. You can also find them on shareddetroit.org, where they are one of over 300 charities and nonprofits supported on that platform. You can find information on how to get in contact with these organizations, how to get to their website, their social media, ways to get involved through job opportunities, through volunteer opportunities as well. Other ways you can help beyond donations, of course, through your time, volunteerism, through physical items in many of their wish lists that are critical to providing these sorts of services. And it ranges from, much like the Mercy Education Project, education to other issues like poverty, also something that's addressed through this organization, and other issues also, food insecurity, housing, and so much more. ShareDetroit.org. We appreciate their partnership in connecting you with more of Michigan's great nonprofits all across the Great Lakes state. That is going to do it for this Monday edition of both the Oakland County and Michigan Megacasts. As always, you can tune in to our programming live Monday through Friday, beginning at 10 a.m. with the Oakland County Megacast, running until 11 o'clock. And from 11 o'clock to high noon, it is the Michigan Megacast, exploring things all across the state of Michigan: news, information, events, projects, all the things that make the Great Lakes state so great. You can also learn more information on our website at civiccentertv.com by going to civiccentertv.com/megacast. You'll find info on all of our partnering stations. You'll find us on demand and so much more. You can even suggest some people that may be interesting for us to talk about or talk to on each and every one of these shows. Also encourage you to go to our local news page on civiccentertv.com for up-to-date information on COVID-19 from the CDC, the MDHHS, and the Oakland County Health Division, as well as to explore articles from great journalists across the state of Michigan on topics on the COVID-19 front and beyond every single day. While you click through those articles and read that content, if you have the means to do so, we highly encourage you to subscribe to those publications and support local journalism in all regions of Michigan. Again, that is it for today's program. We will return tomorrow with new editions of both the Oakland County and the Michigan Megacasts beginning at 10 a.m.